Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so great to see everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I want to say welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Today, I'm going to do audio because I'm on the road and my lighting isn't what I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just talk to you guys as opposed to trying to sort of do the most. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. And today I wanted to hop in and have a conversation with you about something that I just saw in terms of a really great interview. I saw D1, who's one of my favorite people on the planet. D1, we've been very good friends for a very long time, and he got together with the excellent brothers out of Earn Your Leisure, and they did this interview where they were talking about Black culture, and I really liked the interview so much that I wanted to address some of it because I think it is time for us as Black people to kind of have a cultural reckoning. I think it's very important for us to become what I call culturally conscious. As you guys know, every single day we do financial consciousness training. And I think that a lack of consciousness has been very costly for the Black community. That lack of consciousness when it comes to your culture, when it comes to your finances, has been very costly. What's also been costly is that people have to understand that there's also such a thing as a financial culture. So give me a yes or no in the chat. Khalid and Khaled, I'm sorry, Khaled and Net and Roosevelt, give me a yes or no. Do you think that culture and economics are connected? Give me a yes or no if you think that that good cultures have good economics and bad cultures have bad economics. Give me a yes or no if you understand that or if you agree with me that culture matters. Let me know if you agree with that assessment. The second thing I want you to give me a yes or no on is do you think do you think that we have a cultural problem in the Black community? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that our culture is fine, everything's okay, or do you think that there's some work to do? Do you think that there is some adjustment that needs to be made? Do you think that there is a little bit of a reckoning that has to happen where we've got to sit down and say, okay, wait a minute, what's going on with our culture? Is this a good culture or a bad culture? Is this a life-giving culture or is it a death culture? Is it a culture that builds wealth and prosperity? Or is it a culture that builds more despair and decay? Yes or no? What do y'all think? I mean, this is something that I think is really important to talk about, and I can tell you, man, I have been really talking about this for so many years, trying to get people to see what I'm saying. The thing is, it's so hard because people are like, Doc, you just be hating, you just be hating, Doc, you just be hating. You ain't part of the culture. You ain't riding for the culture. I'm like, I can't ride for a culture that's stupid. I can't make myself dumb enough to want to be a part of something that's gonna kill my children. I ain't trying to be a slave. I ain't trying to be Kunta Kinte no more. I ain't trying to do that. I'm just not. I'm not trying to go run around disrespecting Black women at an disrespect for Black women at an all-time high because we got a lot of bearded babies out here, a lot of 45, 50-year-old teenagers who hate their mama, who won't get therapy. Instead of getting therapy, they go to the internet and yell and scream and holler and bitch and complain and all this other stuff. And I'm not saying you ain't got nothing to complain about, but I'm saying, Lord Jesus, where did manhood go? Where did masculinity go? I thought masculinity meant, as a man, you don't go run around acting like acting all hyper emotional. And I would say like a woman, but that would actually be disrespectful to women because I know some women that got it together more than some of y'all little bitch ass men. And I hate saying it like that, but it's true. I think that the idea of men just whining about women all day is just weird. I don't understand that. I think that if you have something to say, you should say it. But whining just isn't competitive. Whining is not productive. Whining certainly is not attractive. And so if you're complaining about women not wanting you, you think it's because you're a truck driver or because you only make $40,000 a year, and that's not really it. The reason that woman might not want you is because she don't want to date a bitch. That's it. I don't mean to get so harsh this early in the morning, but it's true, right? And this is in case you want to know that talking like this is what makes some guys get so mad at me. But I'm sorry, I can't support bitch ass behavior. Now what I will support, here's what I love, here's what I appreciate is I appreciate the fact that these guys at Earn Your Leisure got together with D1 and they did this interview the other day, and I didn't watch the whole interview. I ain't gonna lie, I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I saw enough to see what kind of conversation they were having. And the conversation they were having is the right conversation. The conversation they were having is the Black man leadership conversation. The conversation they were having is a cultural conversation that basically kind of just says, hey, maybe there's something we need to think about here. Maybe we don't need to just think about the culture that we're supporting. We need to think about like who's doing this, like what's the agenda here, what's happening here. Like D1 made an interesting point. And D1, as you guys know, for full disclosure, D1's one of my buddies. We talk all the time, and I've always said D1 is the greatest rapper alive, not just because he's a great lyricist, but because he's a great visionary. He's the kind of guy who has the right kind of message that really underscores and understands the power of hip hop to transform minds. D1 became a rapper. In case you don't know his story, he became a rapper because he was a teacher. He was a teacher first. He's the KRS-One tradition. And so as a teacher, he saw that hip hop music was hitting children really hard. Like the hip hop culture was influencing kids. It was affecting how they dress, how they talk, what they believe, what they would do with their lives. And if you're looking up to somebody who's glorifying murder, that's not going to lead to a good life for a child. Give me a yes if you agree with this. If you listen to a grown-ass man that only glorifies excessive materialism and financial irresponsibility, or what I refer to in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, economic immaturity, that's not going to lead to prosperity for that child. Let me know if you agree with that. If you're looking up to a man who disrespects women and hates the women that give birth to his children, that's not going to benefit the community. If you're looking up to men that glorify ignorance, how far can a black man go when he has no brain? How far can a black man go when he cannot read? How far can a black man go when he puts down his book and picks up a liquor bottle? So this is what hip hop was designed to encourage in the black male community. Hip hop, unfortunately, they wired it. They use money. This is why I'm involved in this conversation, because I'm not just as a black man, but as a financial expert, I can tell you that the money's all over this. D1 mentioned an interesting point. He's in the interview. He said we don't have a unified black agenda, and I'm going to talk to him about that. He and I are going to talk today, and I'm going to mention to him what I think could be a good unified black agenda. I think things like reparations could be a place of unity. I think that education, just making sure our kids are educated properly, could be part of an agenda. I think that healthy relationships and fixing the broken family issue could be part of our agenda. I think that black wealth, give me a yes if you agree with these things. Black wealth could be part of the agenda. So give me a yes if you agree with this. I'm going to propose a black agenda right now. Y'all ready? Because I've been thinking about the black agenda for like 20 years. So here's a simple black agenda that I think we can all align on. Give me a yes in the chat if you can align with me on this. I believe that black people should be mentally and physically healthier. Give me a yes if you agree with that. That means really being conscious of the food we eat, and the poison that they're selling us in the grocery stores and in the fast food restaurants. We need to sort of think about this and what effect it's having on us. Big Mama getting her foot cut off at the age of 52, yeah, and then the kids going half crazy because they're eating too much sugar and all that. I think that needs to be addressed. I think we need mental health. I think that healing is critical. Healing is critical. Let me know. Give me a yes if you agree that we can put that in the black agenda. I'm going to propose it right now. My wife is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, and she's also a trauma expert. And she basically says and helped me understand that undiagnosed, untreated trauma is the reason that black folks act insane. That's why we kill each other. That's why we go off on each other. That's why we divorce each other. That's why we beat each other up. That's why you see these crazy videos on the internet of black folks acting ridiculous. Well, a lot of that's because of trauma. That's a trauma. That's called a trauma response, people. That's what that is. And so if you don't heal from your trauma, you're going to run out here acting like a damn crazy ass ragamuffin. You're going to go out here in the world and just hurt people. So how about that? Give me a guess if you agree that mental health could be part of the black agenda. What else? How many of you agree that fixing the broken family issue could be a part of a unified black agenda? How many of y'all can agree? Give me a yes if you can agree that black children are better off when they have a daddy and a mama in the house, unless you're talking about two gay dudes or two lesbians, in which case I give you a pass. I am not here to judge your lifestyle, but 90-something% of us are not in that situation. Most of us that made a baby, we needed a man and a woman to do it. And how many of y'all would agree that it is better for the child to have full access every day to both their mother and their father for both protection and guidance and everything else? Give me a yes if you can agree with me that strong families could be part of a black agenda. I think family is so important. See, I want y'all to really hear me on this. Family is so important that you should have a class on how to run a family. Like that, like family is so important. When I studied wealth, when I went through, I had this book, you guys know about it. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And when I was doing research for this book and trying to understand why black wealth won't grow, I said, there is no way you can grow wealth. Pay attention now. There's no way you can grow wealth in a community that has no family. You can't. I have a friend from Africa who's very, very wealthy, and they made their money from cows. And I went to their house, and it was like going to an episode of Coming to America. Like they lived in, wherever King Jaffa lived in Coming to America. That's where they lived. They had, in the middle of this country, it was in Botswana. They had Range Rovers and Rolls Royces and Bentleys and all kinds of stuff. They had a gardener, a butler, a maid, a cook, all these things in their house, right? And one of the things that one of the family members said is she said, I don't understand how African Americans believe that you can build wealth when you start over every generation. She said, my grandfather had cows. My father had more cows than him. And my brothers now and we have more cows than my father ever did, because every generation we have more cows, and that's how we can live nice. So I want you to understand, and I'm saying this as a finance professor, I am not a financial influencer. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a finance scholar. I'm a financial scientist. And I can tell you that the science of economics and the science of finance dictates that a community with strong families is going to have more wealth than a community with a bunch of babies, mamas, and baby daddies and broken families. You can't compete. Like Michael Jackson said in The Wiz, you can't win. You can't break even and you can't get out of the game. People say things are gonna change, but really they just stay in the same. You can't win. You're over your head and you only got yourself to blame. You can't win, child. I like that song. I like singing it because you can't win. When you're breaking up your families, when you're taking one of the strongest, most significant social infrastructure pieces in the black community and you tear it into bits, into tiny particles, you can't win. You literally you can't win, you can't break even, and you can't get out of the game. I know you can't break even because you got this thing called the racial wealth gap. Y'all heard about that, right? Where white people have more wealth than you. And the thing about the racial wealth gap is that it's growing, it's not shrinking. So you can't win, you can't break even, and you can't get out of the game. You can't stop being black. So you're gonna have to fix that. You're gonna have to fix that. So here's what I'm saying. I don't think there's anything. Look, an extreme wealth gap requires extreme responses. An extreme amount of racism requires an extreme reaction. I'm an extremist because I believe that we are in an extreme situation. Let me know if you get what I'm saying. I believe that because they extremely want to exploit us, we got to be extreme in fighting the exploitation. Because they extremely want to oppress us, we must be extreme in our preparation. Because they extremely want to keep us dumb and ignorant, uneducated, we have to be extreme in our response. Slavery was extreme, so you got to be more extreme than slavery, and that's pretty extreme. So one extremity that I propose in the unified black agenda is that anybody who wants to build a black family needs to learn how to do that shit properly. You need to learn how to do it. Read a book about it. Talk to the elders about it. You got elders in your community that have been married 30, 40 years, but you up here getting relationship advice from a YouTuber. A YouTuber with no credentials. A YouTuber with who's had 8 boyfriends in the last 2 years. A YouTuber who is just some good-looking guy who's telling you what you want to hear so he can go and get ass from a bunch of followers in his DMs. That's what it is. You got that. You got that whole entertainment phenomenon where people are getting very bad advice from people who don't know what the hell they're talking about, and you're not listening to the people that actually have the answers. Your elders know how to stay married 30 years. That girl on online with the big booty that you like to follow, who tells you what everything a man wants to hear, that is not a woman that's going to build a great family for you. That man, that silky smooth man with the nice sexy beard and who knows how to tell you how women are wonderful and beautiful and calls you queen in every sentence, that Negro's lying to you because he's trying to sell a damn book and he's trying to go get some ass. And it is working because you are, in the words of Nietzsche, the great philosopher, you basically have been sucked into a religion which has become the opiate for the masses, which has always been the opiate for the masses. It's just not a religion you find in church. But there are social media religions where people build cult followings, where people literally tune in so they can hear stuff that simply affirms their pre-existing point of view. There are people that others follow just because these people will never ever force them to have accountability or look in the mirror or say, what did you do to contribute to your situation? So at the end of the day, I believe that because building a black family is so important and so sacred, I think we should literally have kids take a class on that. If especially if you never saw what a family looks like, if you grew up in a broken family, what makes you think you can build a structured family? What makes you think that you know what it takes? Seriously, you pick the person that you're dating because they were cute and the sex was good, and you don't understand. You haven't even thought about, well, what's it like to date them when they're old and wrinkled and tired and have cancer, and you got to take them to the doctor's appointments and change their diaper after they get home from the doctor. Have you even thought about that, or are you only thinking about the sexy person next to you? Because I've seen that. I've seen. I'm not gonna talk about the diaper part, but I got two parents that both dealt with cancer, and I saw them sacrifice at the age of 70 something to take care of each other. I saw that up close. My daddy is not as sexy as he was when he was 30. My mama ain't as sexy as she was when she was 30. But now they're both in their 70s, and now love kind of goes to another level. Most people don't know nothing about that. They ain't never seen it. They don't have any clue what that looks like. So ultimately, what I'm just going to say to you, and I'm going to give you just this is, and I hope you can just take it in the spirit that it's intended. You have to be able to think about these things if you really want to understand what family looks like, and you also must understand how important family is for wealth. It's easier to build wealth with family. I mentioned earlier, I talked earlier about my wife, and I brag about it because that's my way of trying to show love. Love it to me. Love is a verb, right? And I got this super intelligent black woman next to me who is super credentialed and all this other stuff. And I'm not like the guys that get intimidated by that stuff because I got a PhD too. And so when she tries to pull out her PhD on me, I pull out a bigger one. It's it's kind of what we do. I'm playing. It's not bigger, but we go. We have our debates, right? But I give her big ups. And the thing about it is, I can tell you that having a partner makes life a lot easier. Having a hardworking partner makes it easy. Having a person who is committed to the vision makes it easier. Raising these damn kids together, it's easier when you're doing it with another person. There's a lot of stuff that happens in life that requires teamwork, and there are a lot of black people who are trained to do it solo. Like raising kids requires teamwork, but we're trained to do it solo. Building wealth requires teamwork, but we're trained to do it solo. And I'm just here to tell you, I'm here to encourage you that if you want to do things as part of teamwork, the reason that training is critical is because you have a culture that breeds excessive individualism. Feminism pushes women to want to do everything by themselves and throw the men out. A lot of it does, not all of it, but a lot of it does. I'm sorry. I know it's if it offends somebody, I'm sorry, but all this rugged individualism, I think that's a bunch of nonsense. I think you do need a man. Men are important, and then also when you have men that don't want to take responsibility, who care nothing about women, care nothing about family. Some of them don't even take care of their own kids. All these are elements of that culture that we're talking about. There's nothing that I see being promoted in hip hop culture that encourages strong families. There's really nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So anyway, I'm going to move on. Do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. If you want to get a copy of my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, you can go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. Also, later on today at 10 a.m. Eastern, every single morning, we do financial consciousness training. If you'd like to join us for financial consciousness training, just text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. We call it Money in the Morning, and that's where you get your day started off right, talking about money. I share stock tips, so we talk about financial consciousness, different ways to see money, because you ain't going to get the money if you can't see it. If you're blind, deaf, and dumb when it comes to money, then money will walk right past you, and I don't want you to stay poor. Poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. If you can't see the money, it will walk right past you and you won't even know that it was there. So my goal is to help you with your economic vision. My goal is to help you reach your economic potential. My goal is to help you heighten your economic awareness. So that's what financial consciousness training is all about. So if you want to join, it's totally free. in the Black Business School. We do it every single day. You can text the word morning to 87948. You can also go to drboyceelevate.com. If you live overseas and you can't text the word morning to 87948, we put up a site, drboyceelevate.com, where you can sign up there. All right, so let's hop in. Let's finish this discussion here because I want to get back to some other stuff I got to do before we get ready for class later on today. So we were talking earlier about Earn Your Leisure in this interview that they did with D1, and they were talking about whether or not Black culture needs to be changed. I agree 100%. I think that we do need an adjustment in our culture. I think that we can't let people use their money, their wealth, and power. Who took over hip hop, who pretty much conquered it, and used their wealth and power and business savvy to pretty much develop distribution systems and monetization processes that kind of allow their economic consciousness to really dominate Black people, particularly the Black male. They turned the Black male into a slave because they effectively came in with a whole bag full of money. And because we were trained to worship money without even thinking about where the money's coming from, a lot of us fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And as a result, one of the most beautiful, one of the most extraordinary art forms in the history of the world was bastardized and turned into a weapon of mass destruction. It was a weapon of just complete mass destruction and ass destruction. It was like they did a whole big Diddy party on every Black man and bent him over and just turned him into a punk right in front of everybody, because we literally allowed the biggest opportunity ever to just walk right past us because we weren't thinking about the business. Our economic consciousness was very low. And also we were so focused on the money that we allowed other people to come in and really turn us into something that we're not. So ultimately, I was proposing a Black agenda, and I think that we were on our way to building something nice. So I mentioned earlier, I said, do we agree that a Black agenda should include physical and mental health for Black people? We all agreed on that. I also asked you all, do you agree that a Black agenda should include healthier relationships and stronger families and healing from our trauma? A lot of you agree with that. You gave me a yes on that. Now I'm gonna add a third element to the Black agenda. I want y'all to give me a yes. I'm asking the Council of Intelligent Black People, give me a yes in the chat if you agree that we can add this to the Black agenda. Do you agree that the Black agenda should include various forms of financial security for Black people? Do you believe that Black wealth should be a part of the Black agenda? Do you agree? Now, by the way, I'm asking a dumb question because I'm hoping y'all going to say yes. If you say no, I don't even know why you're here. I don't even know why you're on the podcast. You could be a Klan member or just an incredibly ignorant Negro naysayer. You know, the Negro naysayers are the people that find a problem with every solution and don't believe Black people can do anything without the help of white people. But do we agree that the Black agenda should include wealth training for our kids? Give me a yes if you agree with that. So put that in the chat. Now, here's the thing. If you want to know a simple plan when it comes to wealth, we have something at blackwealthmasterplan.com. Again, this is totally free. And the Black Wealth Master Plan is very basic. And I want you to write this down. I'd like for you to share this with other people in your family. If you do this with your children and your grandchildren, they will never have a financial problem their entire life. Sure, there'll be investors. Sure, they're going to lose money sometimes. Investors always lose money, and then they make more than they lose. Good investors do. But they're going to be in a different level from other people. So here's the Black Wealth Master Plan. And just in case you've heard it before, I apologize for having to repeat it, but y'all know what it is. To change a culture, you do that partly through repetition. Repetition is one of the ways that you tap into the subconscious mind. So I am going to be repeating myself for the next 25 years on the Black Wealth Master Plan, just like I have been doing since way before 2013. So the Black Wealth Master Plan is very basic. Write this down. Number one, every Black child should know how to start a business by the age of 12. That's very important, especially for Black boys and Black men, because white people don't like to hire Black men as much as they hire everybody else. And you don't want to be locked out of the economic system. And you want to have a plan B in case they don't see your value, don't pay you what you're worth, or they mistreat you on the job. Can I get an amen or a yes in the chat to let me know if you agree that every Black child should learn the basics of starting their own business by the age of 12? Here's the thing. It would take less than 100 hours for a Black child to learn how to be a really great entrepreneur. Just 100 hours of training literally will put them in the creme de la creme. It will put them in the top 5%, maybe top 2% of entrepreneurs in terms of training and background. Can you imagine? I want you to imagine with me what would happen if we had Black boys as well trained on entrepreneurship and starting businesses and doing business as they are on football, basketball, rapping, twerking, dancing, everything else that we do. I mean, imagine if we were as good at business as we are at sports. It would be absolutely explosive. We would not just dominate business, we would dominate sports because we're always going to be great athletes. We're never going to stop being great football players because we have powerful genes in our body. We're never going to stop being great basketball players. We're never going to forget how to dunk a basketball. Black men will never ever forget how to play basketball, football, run track, all these other things that we do. We'll never forget those things. But if you add business on top of that, then that allows you to monetize your talent at a higher level. That heightens your economic conscience. That heightens your possibilities. It gives you more moves. Like anybody who ever plays basketball knows that if you've only got one move, it's easy to play defense on a sucker who only got one move. If you're the sucker who goes to the court and you can only dribble with your right hand, it's easy to shut down a player who can only dribble with his right hand. It's easy to shut down a player who only knows how to go to the basket, but it's hard to shut down a player who's got a lot of moves. You understand? It's hard to shut down the guy who has good handles on his left and his right. It's hard to shut down the guy who knows how to shoot and pass. It's hard to shut down the guy who can hit you from the 3-point line, dunk on you, shoot the mid-range jumper, and hit the free throw. It's hard to stop a guy that's got a lot of moves. So what I'm saying is that our children have to learn a lot of moves. Do you understand? In this game of competitive economics, if you've only got one move and that only move is I'm going to go get a job and hope that a white man hires me, you're done. You're fried. You're a biscuit, bro. You're a piece of fried ass chicken. They're going to eat you up. They're going to cook you. They're going to drop you in the hot boiling grease. You're going to burn alive and you're going to spend your life suffering. So we got to give our children moves. We got to give them coaching to get ready for the big game. The big game is the game of economics. The big game is the game of powernomics. They got to get trained and prepared. It's our job to do that. So anyway, the first part of the Black Wealth Master Plan is that I believe every black child should learn how to start a business by the age of 12. What is part two? Part two is that every black child should have shares of stock by the time they're 5 years old. Personally, I believe every black child should have stock before they're born. I believe anybody who's ever planning to have kids at any point in their lives should start buying stock right now so that stock will have time to grow so they can feed their children with that stock when they get older and also pass these assets on to them by the time they're 20, 25 years old. If you go to blackwealthmasterplan.com, that information is there, the $5 a day plan. It's very easy to do. Anybody can do it. But the problem is that you can't have a poor mentality. Poor means passing over opportunities repeatedly. So every time you waste time, you're wasting wealth. Every time you don't invest for that baby, you are letting time go by and you are not growing his assets. It's just like you could grow his dinner. You could grow his food. If you took those 47 weeks before dinner that you have to grow some vegetables in your garden and stop wasting that time, you will be fine. But because you let that time go by, you got to go down to Popeyes and get him a value meal. You got to go down to Popeyes and buy him some poison when you could have fed him vegetables, but you had to plant ahead of time. So money is like a seed. You have to plant those seeds. So every child should own stock by the age of 5. Someone should consistently buy stock for them every single week or every single month. So that by the time they're 20, 25 years old, they have plenty of money. That allows them to pursue part 3 of the Black Wealth Master Plan. Part 3 is every black child should be in a position to put a down payment on real estate when they're 21 years old. They should be in a position to do that. Now, they don't have to do it. Maybe they wait till they're 25 to buy real estate. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you've done the $5 a day plan and followed parts 1 and 2, then what happens is that they have over $100,000 liquid in their stock portfolio when they're in their 20s. A person that has over $100,000 liquid can go buy real estate. A person that's over $100,000 liquid can go buy a home. They can quit their job. A person that's got over $100,000 liquid can go start that business. A person that's over $100,000 liquid can go knock out some of those student loans if they want to. A person that's got over $100,000 liquid is not going to lose sleep because of financial problems. So what you got to do is you got to liberate them by preparing them. If you prepare them, then they'll be fine. If you don't prepare them, they're going to get screwed. This is the world we live in. They don't love you. Stop thinking that they do. Stop looking for love in all the wrong places. Stop looking for people who don't care about you to take care of you. So long story short, I want to just say this. I have to acknowledge that I really loved. I'm going to go full circle and say that I was very happy that D1 and the guys at Earn Your Leisure had that conversation. I love the guys at Earn Your Leisure. I love the way they're impacting the culture. I love D1. I love what he's doing. Believe me, when I started doing this stuff in 06, 07, I had no allies. There was nobody out here really talking about wealth like that. Now we've got a lot of brothers that are doing this, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I think we need more of that. We need more women. The thing is, honestly, women, there have always been a lot of women that have been very quick to understand the message. It was the guys that I kind of had to work with a little bit more because hip hop has such an influence on the minds of young black men. But where women were being influenced was you see a lot of women that are attracted to the wrong types of men because of what gets promoted in media. You know, I don't really know how you think that you can have children with a guy who has a foot in the penitentiary and think that that's going to be wonderful for your kids, or to have children with a guy who literally glorifies a culture where family is seen as simping and loving black women is seen as being a punk, and somehow think that man's going to ever love you, take care of you, be there for you, or raise kids with you. I don't understand that, to be honest with you. So I think women were misguided as well. But either way, though, it's up to you to decide how you want to navigate that. All I can say is that when they asked that fundamental question in that interview with D1 and Earn Your Leisure of whether or not black culture needs to be shifted, I say hell to the yeah. 100%, absolutely, no questions asked. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I want to remind you all, actually, Jay Ortiz is hosting something called the Get Money Fest. Jay Ortiz is a great artist out of Philadelphia. He's on tour with Kevin Gates right now, and he's doing something called the Get Money Fest with art and music and financial literacy and everything else. That's going to be in Philly, May 18th. So if you go to getmoneyfest.com, I think his tickets are actually free. So feel free to join that if you'd like to be a part of what they're doing. I agreed to speak there, and I'm very happy to do that. Second of all, we are going to do financial consciousness training in the Black Business School at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you want to join us, just text the word morning to 87948. I'll send out a link in a little bit that will invite you to our private Zoom, where in the private Zoom, we break down elements of economic consciousness, ways to see the money all around you, ways to see the money, how money moves our society. So feel free to text the word morning to 87948, or if you live overseas, you can go to drboyceelevate.com. All right, guys. So I got to get out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify or Apple, you can find me there. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clearing the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.